Would you like to know how to prevent production problems with your embroidery designs? Do you get frustrated when you run a job and you keep coming up with problems? The thread keeps fraying and breaking. The design is puckering or pulling up, causing you headaches. Now, in this training, you're going to learn how that you can prevent many issues in your embroidery production runs by planning out your production and paying close attention to every detail in your design sew-outs. Trying to get the best production possible out of every single day is a must if you want a profitable embroidery business. And I want you to stay to the end. I'm going to have a little gift for you if you are staying right to the end. Now, the purpose of this training is to show you how you can prevent many problems in your production runs by paying close attention to every detail as you are scheduling and going through the production process. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you always sew out your embroidery designs before you start any new job? Do you sew them out on the same type of fabric that the finished job is going to be sewing on? Do you get your job scheduled and delivered on time? Paying close attention to every detail is extremely important in preventing errors or finding any type of issues within your embroidery design before you start your long production run. You want to thoroughly examine your design as you are sewing it out to see if there are any types of issues as it is running. Now, before we go any farther, I want to let you know who I am, if you don't know already. I'm Joyce Jagger, the Embroidery Coach, and I help embroidery business owners succeed in their embroidery business. I do a lot of training in all areas of running your embroidery business for business owners of small, medium, and large embroidery businesses. And through online training and one-on-one coaching, I help you avoid pitfalls. I help you create a profitable pricing structure, and I show you easy steps to follow on your path to success. I have been consulting and training for over 20 years. I have helped hundreds of struggling embroiderers increase their business and become very profitable. I started my business in my home 40 years ago, and I grew and had a multi-head embroidery shop for over 20 years. I loved what I was doing. Growing was very exciting. And I love what I do now, and I have no plans for retiring. I'm a grandmother with 8 grandchildren and 6 great-grandchildren, including 3-year-old, very busy twins. And I'm a cancer survivor. I have coached hundreds of embroidery business owners to build highly successful businesses. And I created the largest and longest embroidery running training membership on site, or excuse me, I have created the largest and longest running embroidery training membership online. And I wrote the book, The Truth About Embroidery Business Success. And I now have a training center in my home where I bring in students to teach them how to get started with their embroidery business and help them get to the next step with their current business. Now let's get right into why you signed up for this monthly training. Watch the machine as it sews every single stitch. You must watch the machine as it is sewing out your design in order to be able to pinpoint any of the small issues that come up. You cannot start the machine and walk away and expect that you are going to not find any issues. It does not work that way. You must watch it as it sews out. And as it's sewing out, ask yourself these questions. Is there something that you can do to shorten your runtime? Are there any thread breaks? If so, find out why. Maybe your density is too heavy. Maybe you need to change your needle. Maybe you've got a bad needle, or maybe your tension's too tight. Is it locking as it starts and stops? If it does not lock at the beginning of the thread can come out. It can come right out of the needle. And I'm sure you've seen this before. This can cause a real production nightmare when you don't have a lock at the very beginning. And if there's no lock at the end, it can unravel. Is it trimming where it's supposed to? Do you see any threads between the letters? If you do, they are not close enough, or they need to have a lock and trim added between them. If I change the running order of my text, will it run faster? In some instances, you want to have the first line running left to right, the second line right to left, and the third line running left to right. This will increase your production by the end of the day. It decreases your running time just by a few seconds, but it does decrease it and really adds up by the end of the day. Are all of the colors correct? And are all of my colors running in the correct order? Does it look too thick or too thin? Your letters may be pushing because your density is too heavy or your pull comp is too heavy. If it's too thin, your pull comp needs to be increased. Check your sew out with the order. Take your order and have it verified by your supervisor or one of your employees before the job is started. Have them look at the work order to make sure that you are both reading it correctly. If you are an only person shop involved in this process, thoroughly read the order again to make sure that you have not missed anything. This is extremely important and will absolutely avoid production errors. Watch every stitch as it sews out to see if there are any mistakes or sequence causing wasted production problems that can be prevented. You can slow down the machine and watch it sew stitch by stitch to pinpoint some issues. Do you have any jump stitches that are too long? This can cause the thread to be caught and your needle to break. Are all of your starts and stops in the correct location? If not, your machine has to move too far to start the next stitch. Is your sew sequence in the right order? You do not want any travel stitches showing. A wrong sew sequence can create too many trims, and these could be prevented if the sew sequence was just changed slightly. Can any of your color changes be combined? And this all depends on how your design was created and what it's going to be sewn on. Is it going to be sewn on another type of garment? Now here is a design that was created for a left chest, and then she wanted to sew it on a hat. So we did combine the colors, and we ran the bottom line first, and then the outside circle, which is all the same color. And then we switched to the inside black part here, and then the gold border. Now you can see where all of my starts and stops are. This little green circle here is a start point, and this red triangle is a stop point. And you always want your starts and stops to be the closest point to the next start point, okay? So our P is stopping here, our O is starting right here. It is stopping here, starting here, okay? Right straight across. And that will give you your best production flow. Now, we stopped the P out here on the end of the stem, excuse me, because we wanted the inside of the P to be covered by the stem. That will just give you a better appearance, okay? And so all the way through, These are the start points. These are your stop points. Sometimes they can be combined. Sometimes they can't, especially if it's on a hat. Sometimes you just absolutely cannot combine your color sequences. Now, it does not matter if your design is digitized by you or the best digitizer in the world. There are no perfect designs. You want to make sure that you sew out every design before you start the job and watch it sew out stitch by stitch. You can learn from watching your designs sew out. This is going to prevent a lot of issues. And this is also true if you set up a design or lettering in your own software. Every design is a new design digitized and needs to have the same close attention paid to detail. Now, I created a checklist. I created this quite a while ago, many years ago, actually, to make it easier when I sew out my designs. And if you stay to the end, I'm going to give you a copy of that checklist. Now, on this checklist, I'm going to go through the things that are on this checklist. What type of fabric, what type of garment is the design going to be sewn on? What is the fabric? What type of backing is required for the fabric? What backing and how many layers are you using? If it is a knit, are you using a topping? Are you using the same type of fabric that the finished design will be sewn on? Is the garment hooped tight enough? Extremely important. Does it sound like a drum when you tap on it after it is hooped? If it is a cap, do you have it hooped tight enough? Are you using the clips on the side of the cap? This is extremely important. I have gone into many, many shops where they've got their hoop running or they've got their cap running on the machine and the whole back of it is just flopping and they can't figure out why it's not staying in registration. You've got to be using those clips on the side of the cap in order to get the best design that you can get. What needle are you using? Are you using the right sized hoop? What is your design speed? Do you see any needle holes in the fabric when you hold it up to the light? Are there any loops in the design? Does the lettering look crisp and clean? Is it sewing out even? If not, what is happening? Does the design look like it is sitting on top of the fabric, not sinking in? Do you see lumps at the end of your letters? This is very, very common. Is there part of the embroidery, is any part of the embroidery distorted? Do you have sharp detail in the design, such as detail around the fill or the satin areas? Is any fabric color showing behind your embroidery? Do you see any bobbin thread showing on top of the embroidery? Do you see any puckering of the embroidery? Do you see any gaps between the border and the fill area? Is any underlay hanging out around the letters or segments? I'm sure that you have seen that. It looks like little tiny loops that are hanging out from pieces of your embroidery or the edge of a letter, sometimes on the inside, sometimes on the end, it'll just like loop up. And you want to make sure that that is not happening. Now, there's nothing any more frustrating than having constant thread breaks or knowing that something could have been changed in your design to make the entire job get done in less time. Time's precious. Time is money, and you cannot get it back once it is lost. And it seems like such a waste of time standing there watching it sew out, but it never is. I've been digitizing for many years and planning out production for many more years. And I will never send out a design to be run unless I have sewn it out 2 or 3 times to make sure that there are no issues. And yes, I watch it. And actually, I will take my design sew out sheet and I'm watching the design. And every time I spot something that isn't correct, I mark it on my production sheet where that problem was. And then I go back into the software and correct it right then and there. Scheduling your production. You must have a scheduling program in order to be able to feel secure in being able to schedule your production so that you can always deliver your jobs on time. This is very important in your production. You must have a master production form with all of your jobs listed on it, like I do here. And this could be a simple spreadsheet. Now, I'm going to say this right up front. I do not recommend one of the production programs that are designed for screen printing and embroidery because number one, they're too expensive. And number two, they're very complicated and it's extremely time consuming to get all of your information in them, to get them ready in order for you to be able to put your jobs in them. And if you are a huge shop, you've got many machines, that's a whole different story. But if you are a smaller shop and you've got less than a dozen machines, I absolutely would not recommend it. Now, this is my production sheet that I created. And before I went home at night, I put all of my jobs on here. And before I would go home at night, I would copy and paste the jobs off for a particular machine. And when the operator came in the morning, her production schedule was right on her machine and it was ready to go. She knew exactly what she had to do for the day. And the time is on every single one as to how long it should take. And this really increases your production. Now, when you are scheduling your jobs, the things that you want to take into consideration are the colors used in the design, the hoop sizes, the fabric types so that you have the right needles in the machine, your stitch count, and the date that it's due. Now, my fabric type and my colors are the most important factors to start with. And I want to have the right colors on the machine so that it goes quicker and saves time between jobs. And next is the fabric type, because I want to make sure I have the right needles in the machine. It's so much easier and faster to change the thread than it is a needle. And just a little side note, I have half of my needles on my machine set up for knits and the other half for woven fabrics. So the knits all have to be done with a ballpoint needle. So the first half of my machine is set up with ballpoint needles, and the last half is set up with sharp needles. And like I said, it takes a whole lot less time to change a cone of thread than it does a needle, especially the way that I teach people how to change their threads. And again, there's the production schedule that I created many years ago. And it was so effective that I could walk out of my business and be gone for a couple of hours. And I knew that the employees would still be doing their jobs, even though I wasn't there, because there was no time for them to screw around, because there was a time allowed for each job. And I always had like one more job on there than what they could actually, that I really expected them to get done in a day, but they were all there. And when I came back, like I said, I could depend that they were all working on the job that they were supposed to be on. Now, back to the basics to prevent design issues. Now, there are many basic issues that cause production problems, okay? So you need to go back to the basics in order to be able to create high quality embroidery designs. First one is your machine speed. Now, your machine speed has a huge effect on the quality of your design. And I absolutely cringe when I go into a shop and I see a machine running faster than 850 stitches a minute. And I run mine on an average of 750. But if I'm working on caps, I've got it down to 6 or 650. Now, the machines today are sold on the fact they can go faster and you can get more production done at the end of the day. Now, that part is true, but it can also cause many issues and slow down your production. The faster your machine is sewing, the more pull you have on your thread. And this causes distortion in your small lettering and in your satin stitches that borders fill, the satin stitches that border fill areas. Now, the faster the machine speed, the tighter the thread pulls, and the narrower the stitch sews. Keep that in mind. If the machine is running too fast, it can skip stitches or force the needle to penetrate in a bad spot and form a stitch that is uneven, such as on a heavy piqué or a fabric that has a lot of ribs, such as twill. You've seen this on caps where you have the design is, it just looks like it's got ragged edges. And it's caused because of all of the twill, the ribs in the twill. Now, the machine speed can also cause the thread to come out of the needle at the beginning of sewing, and it can leave a long loop at the beginning or on the first stitch of these that you are sewing. Now, here is a design that was sewn at 1200 stitches a minute. And here is the same design sewn at 650 stitches per minute. Huge difference, huge. Bad tension. Now, a bad tension can cause many issues. And this is one that I get a lot of customer support emails about. If your tension is not right, it can create bird nesting in your designs, like it is here. And if your white bobbin is showing on top, then your bobbin tension is too loose, or else the top stitching is, or the top tension is too tight. But as a general rule, it means that your bobbin is too loose. And if you will notice with your bobbin tension, you want to make sure that when you put your bobbin in, that it is, the thread is not behind the little clip that's on the edge of the bobbin case. You want to make sure that it is out over top of that. Now, your machine needs to be using either rayon thread or polyester thread. You should not be switching back and forth if you can help it. And in today's world, your polyester thread is by far the best one to use because of the strong laundry detergents that they use today, because it's going to fade the rayon thread right out. And you aren't going to have the color bleeding with the polyester thread that you will have with the rayon thread. If you stick to polyester, it's going to eliminate a lot of issues. And like I said, in today's world, this is the thread that you should be using. And if you are using rayon thread, you need to be gradually switching over as you reorder your threads. And it's a much stronger thread. And as I said, it will not fade out with bleach. Now, your polyester thread has to run a little tighter than your rayon thread. And if you're switching back and forth, it's really tough to keep your thread tension correct. it needs to be readjusted for the different types of thread. Now, there are 2 tension gauges that you need to order if you don't, excuse me, all of a sudden I've developed, now as I was trying to say, there are 2 thread tension gauges that you need to purchase, and in order to keep your thread tensions correct. The top one, this is for your top thread, and this is for your bottom thread. Now there's also a digital thread tension gauge out there that will work for both the top and the bottom threads, but frankly, I do not find that helpful. I have one, I've tried to use it several times, and it does not give me a consistent tension like these do. These work so much better. So those are the ones that I absolutely suggest that you get. And you can purchase them any place that where you get your embroidery supplies. I purchased mine from Crystal Threads out of Buffalo, New York. And they also have a office in Chicago. But anyways, they are really helpful tools, and they will help you keep your threads tension much better. Now, I'll tell you a little story while we're there. I used to teach for Hirsch, and I used to have to go out to Bloomington, Minnesota once a month and teach their classes. I did that for quite a while. And before I started, they wanted me to teach how to use these tension gauges, and they sent me a set. And I thought, you've got to be kidding. I know how to check tensions. I've been doing it for 30 years. I knew what I was doing. So I will just teach people how to test their tensions the way that I've always done. They said, no, no, no. We want you to use these gauges and teach them that. So I had to figure out how to teach, how to, even use them, because I had no one to show me. So I finally figured it out. I could not believe how much better my machines ran. I was absolutely blown away. They made such a huge difference in my machines and the issues that I was having with them. I mean, it cut it way down. So just a word to the wise, if you don't have these tension gauges, get them, all right? Next are wrong or bad needles. Now, this is really blown up a lot, but this has got holes all through it because the needle was bad, okay? Not only was it a bad needle, but it was a sharp needle when it should have been a ballpoint. And this was a knit. This was on a knit t-shirt. Whoops. And you can see how it looped up here at the top. And you can see a definite hole here. There was a hole here, hole up here. I mean, there's holes all over the place. So you want to make sure that you are using a good needle. Now, sometimes you can get away with a woven needle on a knit if it is a brand new needle and it is a small needle. Now, your embroidery machines are all delivered with the 7511 sharp needle, okay? You want to switch those out to a 7010, okay? So like I said before, I have the first half of my machine threaded up with, I said threaded up, with ballpoint needles in it. And there's 7010s. And then the last half are woven needles. And again, there's 7010s, okay? If I'm working on a cap, I need to change my needle many times to a 7511. I will try the 7010 first to see if it works. And if I have no problems, I continue with it. But if I have an issue, then I will change it to a 7511. I never, ever, ever use an 8012 needle, never, okay? A lot of people will tell you, you have to use the 8012s for your hats. You do not. The smaller the needle, the more defined you will see in your your designs, okay? Especially if you can use a 7010 needle and you've got a lot of detail, it's going to be much finer and clearer than it is with the 7511, okay? Just keep that in mind. Now, we recommend that you change your needles every 2 million stitches or after every 8 hours of constant stitching on the same needle bar. Now, this is hard to keep track of and something that we really do not do a lot, but I always had the operators that were very detail oriented check to make sure that they were using good, sharp needles, okay? You can hear the difference in the sound when the needle goes down into the fabric. And this comes with a lot of experience. So when that needle is making a slightly different sound, get it out of there, change it, okay? Now, these were all done with wrong backing or cheap supplies. This is something else that is very, very important. This over here was done with the wrong backing. This was done with a tearaway backing. And this is with the cutaway. This is with the no-show, okay? And on my knits, I use 2 layers of no-show and a layer of crisp tearaway. And that will help to flatten out the small letters and show you good detail. Now this design down here was also with tearaway backing. And you can see how awful that looks and how it pulled up. Now, this design was this wasn't just after it was done, this was also washed. So after it was washed, so if you see a design that looks like this after it's washed, but it was okay when it was finished, chances are you had the wrong backing on it, okay? Now this design right here, this was done with a cutaway backing, a regular cutaway, not the no-show. And you can see that you can see that backing right through. It looks like a patch right through the back, and you don't want that. So you want to make sure that you're using the very lightweight no-show backing on that, on all of your light colored knits especially. Now, this design was on a knit, and it's kind of a fleecy type, and they didn't use any topping on it. So you can see the fabric coming right through the stitches. If they had used a topping with this, it would have looked so much better, okay? You want to make sure that you're using a topping on all of your knits. It just makes, it's like the difference is night and day. And an embroiderer that would let that go out is a mediocre embroiderer. You don't ever want to be like that, okay? You want to make sure that the thread is on top of the fabric and not sinking in, letting the fabric show. Now, you want to make sure that you are hooping correctly. You want your design, you want your hoop to be nice and tight around your garment, okay? You don't want any movement. You don't want it being sloppy. You want it, when you tap on the end of it, to feel like a drum. Now, also another critical thing is the size of the hoop. If you have a very small design that's going to be sewn in the center of this, you're using the wrong hoop. You need a much smaller hoop, okay? You're not going to get as good registration, and you can even have bouncing in your hoop. You just don't want that. You want to make sure that your design is works with the right size hoop, all right? That's very, very important. Now we're going to go through some designs with problems and I explain how I fix them. And these are all very common problems. Now, this came from a shop that they couldn't figure out what was wrong with this. And this was on a performance fabric, a thin performance fabric. And they did have the right backing, but they had the wrong settings in their design and they did not use any topping. And I changed the pull comp in it and the underlay. Up here, all I did was change the pull comp. I added more to the pull comp. And then I used topping on it when I sewed it out. And the difference is like, again, night and day. Now here's designs that are out of registration. And this was the way the design came into me. And the customer was very unhappy because the fill was showing, and this was a run stitch, and it was going up beyond the fill. So what I did was I removed the run stitch and I added a small satin stitch, which made all the difference in the world. And then I added a lot more to the detail in their faces. And the design, it just, when it sewed out, it was like, you know, night and day. And this was on a fleece. So you have to be very, very careful. And again, you want to make sure that you're using a topping on fleece. Now here is showing a design. The topping was not removed from this, but this was on a knit. It was on a knit warm-up jacket, a lightweight knit warm-up jacket. And the density in the fill, well, the density in all of it was way too heavy. And it pushed right out. Okay. So number one, the fill needed to be brought in a little bit because of the type of fabric that it was, because this was a very thin, like I said, a thin performance wear warm-up jacket, no lining. And the pushing was because there was just way too many stitches in it. When you're working with a performance fabric, you want it's the same type of a thing as it is with a just a regular knit shirt. However, you want to make sure that on the performance wear that your density is a little bit lighter. Okay, you don't want as heavy a density. And like I said, it pushed way out all over the place. And then the density around the satin stitch was also too heavy. So I lightened it all up and then it sewed out great. I'm going to stop here for a second. It looks like we got a couple of questions. Okay, what about 3D puff? I'm not sure what the question is. Braden, give me your question about the puff, okay? Sandra says, when setting my locks, the thread lock is sticking out past the letters when embroidered. Yes, that's what I was talking about when I said, do you see lumps at the end of your letters? If that's the case, then you want to bring your lock stitch, move it down 2 stitches, okay? You just take your lock and absolutely pull it down 2 stitches, all right? You can't pull it down one will not work. You've got to go 2 stitches and you'll get rid of that lump, all right? Okay, 3D puff, I was told 80-12 needle by Pacific Headwear. Okay, again, Pacific Headwear will probably tell you an 80-12 on caps, period. But like I said, I don't do that. It is an 80-12 needle will absolutely cut the foam. It'll cut the foam better, all right? But if your design is digitized correctly, you don't need that, all right? That's the bottom line answer to that. Now here is a design, again, wrong settings, wrong backing. This design had way too many stitches in it. It had too much detail. I took part of the, I took part of the detail out of here because it just made it curl up. I removed a lot of stitches all the way through it. And then I used a different backing. Now, this design did not look nearly as bad as it did until after it was laundered. And they had it all pretty much pressed out flat. A lot of people will take their garments after they embroidered them and trim them, and then they'll lay them in the heat press machine to press them flat. Well, I don't ever do that, but I'm just telling you that's what a lot of people do. This was also laundered, okay? But this was done with a regular, it had very heavy backing on it. It was a cutaway backing, but it was very heavy. Okay, this was 2 layers of no-show, a layer of crisp tearaway. And this is what it looked like when it came out of the washer and dryer. And this came out of the washer and dryer. Obviously, the customer was not happy when they got their order. So this customer sent me their design and pictures and asked me to fix it, which I do a lot of that, okay? Now here is some designs that absolutely needed editing. This came into me, they couldn't figure out why it looked lacy around the edge of this design, this little cowgirl. And it's because they were using a run stitch. And a run stitch looks horrible in a light color. I'm sure you've noticed that. If you've got a run stitch that's a dark color, it looks fine. But in a light color, it looks terrible. It looks like it's little beads or something. And it just does not look good at all. And all I did was I changed it to a narrow satin stitch. And it made all the difference in the world. And this was sent in to me. They didn't know what to do with it. This design was done with a true type font. Now, sometimes some softwares will convert a true type font great. Others absolutely will not. And if they don't, they need to be edited. This person would have been better off if they just had the design digitized to begin with. It would have been much nicer, but this is what can happen if you've got a true type font. So this whole design should have been edited. She said the customer was not at all happy. I can understand why. So now this is a sample of what many, many embroiderers do. This is regular stock lettering. Okay, they type it out and expect that's all you have to do. And that could not be farther from the truth. You need to add the right settings to it depending on the fabric that you have. And you don't want threads showing between your letters. You don't want the dot connected to the bottom part of the eye. All of that looks very unprofessional. That is a sign of a mediocre embroiderer, someone that is just starting out, or they don't know the difference and they think it's okay. It's not okay. Now, this is the same design. Settings has been added, and I removed the dot from the eye. I didn't move the letters. All I did was add pull comp and underlay. And then down here, I changed the underlay. I added this one I had a center run. Okay, let me talk about this again. Most of your designs that come in from your digitizers today will have a center run embroidery underlay, or they will have a zigzag underlay. And I, for the life of me, do not know why. That is not the way that I was taught, and they don't come out great. All right. Now, the difference between this one and this one is I took out the center run and I put an edge run. Okay. And the edge run gives you a whole different look, because if your underlay is too far from the edge, you're going to have a jagged edge on the edge of your letters, and you want a smooth edge. And I also put topping on this. Okay. Now, I've gone through a lot of different scenarios with issues and showing you what can happen if you don't have the right materials or the right settings in your designs. And it's really not that hard to prevent problems. Taking the time to prevent issues saves time, and it helps you increase your production at the end of the day. And preventing problems in your embroidery production can be done, and much of it is in the planning of your embroidery production runs and paying close attention to detail. Absolutely. This is huge. Now, do your designs look like quality? Your embroidery is your billboard for advertising, and you should want your advertising to bring in more customers. Your embroidery is a way of creating free advertising. Let me ask you a question. Are you ready to get the help you need to become the expert embroiderer and start increasing your embroidery production? It's easy to get started. You don't have to be a genius. I have a program that teaches you step by step. And when you finish one step, you go to the next one. It's that simple. There's 3 things you need to be successful: detailed yet simplified training, support, coaching, and accountability, shortcuts, and I'm going to introduce to you the Embroidery Business Academy. I can't cover everything that you need in this training. Absolutely. You'd be here all day and then some. But I'd like to share with you how you can get everything you need to be able to create high quality embroidery and build a very successful embroidery business. Is that okay? The Embroidery Business Academy, the mastery titanium level of the Embroidery Business Academy. And here's what the Embroidery Business Academy can do for you. It can teach you to create high quality embroidery that you are proud of. You can create a steady flow of repeat business. It's going to give you the confidence to charge what you need to charge. And you're going to finally enjoy your business. And you're going to sleep peacefully at night. Trust me. Now, our program is designed in 3 core components. You've got stage 1, which is mastering embroidery skills and increasing your quality and confidence. And stage 2 is mastering pricing for profit, organizing your business, and marketing your business. And then we've got our support system, the coaching and the certification. Now, the coaching consists of every week we have a live training on Wednesday afternoon, and we have live Q&A afterwards. And then when you have an issue, if you've got a design issue, there's something that you have run across that you can't figure out, or you have a design that has come back from the digitizer that is just not working right, and you don't know what to do with it. You've even sent it back to the digitizer a time or two, and it still is the same. Then send it over to me. I'll figure it out. Okay? And that is in my Mastery Titanium Lifetime level, in which is what I'm going to show you. Now, stage 1 is mastering embroidery skills. This is where I'm teaching you step by step how to embroider, how to create small lettering, and help you understand the design settings. And then we have our increased quality and confidence, gives you editing skills, teaches you what quality the embroidery really should be. It helps you master quality and teach you many design skills, and gives you the confidence to create high quality products. And then we have Mastering Pricing for Profit, where I teach you how to price your products for a profit, and you learn how to keep track of all of your processes. And then we have our business organization, where this helps you get your business organized, get you set up running smoothly, and you can learn to create the right sales tools, scheduling systems, and set up your bookkeeping properly. And then we've got marketing, where it gets you on the right path with marketing your embroidery business, and teaches you how to work with your customers online. And that's a total value of $2,363. Now, our support systems. I told you we have live trainings every week with a live Q&A. And then we've got email support, phone support, plus you get a one-on-one coaching call. And then we've got bonuses, the Embroidery Business Growth Plan, 9 Steps to a Profitable Embroidery Business. That's a course that I am in the process of teaching right now. And then your certification program, where you can take a test at the end and become certified. This is going to bring more business into you, because people want to deal with someone that has a certification over one that does not. This is going to help you stand out from the crowd of other embroiderers. Now, stage 1 is the value is $5,517. Stage 2, it's a value of $3,997. Your support system, the value is $2,997. Your bonuses, $1,247. Total value of $12,224. Now, if you go into the Mastery Titanium membership right now, into the website, you will see that our monthly option for the lifetime level is $247 per month for 12 months. The lifetime is a one payment option for $2,497. Our special during this time is $195 per month for 12 months, or a lifetime single pay option of $2,197. That is a savings of $143. And the link to that is the embroiderycoach.com TTS. Now, here is a testimonial from Julie Rathy. She said, I signed up for the Embroidery Business Academy membership. Once inside, I decided it was probably best to start with embroidery basics, even though I thought it would be too basic for me. Boy, was I shocked how much I learned just in that module. I soon realized that Joyce had a lot of valuable knowledge that would help propel my business forward. In fact, I had longed for someone like her, someone I could call and say, help. And Julie started with me, I'm not quite sure, probably about 3 years ago. And she has a thriving business now. She does extremely great quality work. And she's been here to my home, and we've worked with her design software and getting her going in just kind of raising her level of embroidery. And like I said, she's got more business that she can handle right now. And here is Linda and Terry Gadwood. She said, I find one of the best things about working with Joyce is that she is accessible. If you're like me, when I've got a problem and I'm stuck and I don't know what to do, I can email Joyce. She responds almost on the same day, or always on the same day, and most of the time within an hour. Joyce is transparent. She approaches teaching in a way that she learned, and many times sharing her feelings about learning something new. Now, I've been working with Linda since 2014, and she came to my business here, and I worked with her again in the software, and she came to me with a problem that she needed to move her business. Well, she has since moved her business, created a great business, and has sold it. She sold it this past December. Someone approached her, and one of her customers that she was doing work for, and loved the quality that she was putting out. And anyways, he offered her a price that she could absolutely not refuse. So she sold it. You never know. You just never know. And I want you to be next. If you really want to learn something, you get a coach or a mentor. If you want to get fit, you hire a personal trainer. If you want to learn to play an instrument, you hire a music teacher. If you want to become an expert embroiderer, you hire a proven mentor. And we'd love to be your coach or mentor with your embroidery business. We want to personally help you build a strong foundation of high quality embroidery and help you see your business grow faster than you've ever experienced before. We help embroiderers succeed, bottom line. And what you can expect from our training: real coaching, a real commitment, and real results. And I want to help you. I want to help you stop struggling and start increasing your business. I want you to stop second guessing yourself and help you increase your confidence. I want you to stop losing customers and start increasing your embroidery design quality. And I want to help you become the profitable embroidery business owner that you want to be. Again, we've got three core components. Stage 1, we've got mastering your embroidery skills, increasing your quality. And then we've got mastering pricing for profit, organizing your business, marketing your business, and then our support system. And the stage 1 is the value is $5,617. Stage 2, the value is $2,363. And then our support system, the value is $2,997. And in all reality, it's probably worth many, many times more than that. And then our bonuses, the value is $1,247, which is your embroidery business growth plan, 9 steps to a profitable embroidery business, and your certification program. Again, stage 1 is $5,517. Stage 2 is $3,997. Your support system, $2,997. And your bonuses, $1,247. And your total value is $12,224. And again, if you go to the membership site right now to Embroidery Business Academy, you will see that your monthly option for the lifetime is $247 per month for 12 months. And the one pay option is $24.97. And our special right now is a monthly option of $195 per month for 12 months, or a single pay option for $2,197. And this is our website, theembroiderycoach.com, TTS. Rosemary Freilich, she says, I entered the embroidery field in 2006, and I wish I could have met Joyce then. She would have saved me a lot of money. She has so much knowledge in the embroidery field, not only in the actual embroidery process, but also in the business end too. I certainly encourage anyone to call Joyce. You will not be making a mistake. She has so much knowledge and she is willing to share it with you. And Laura says, working with Joyce, I was encouraged to try new techniques with embroidery. And during that time, I signed up to be a member of her Embroidery Business Academy. And for me, this is worth every penny. I still ask Joyce questions after processes, and I always have an answer. If at any time in the future I need help, I will ask Joyce. Her guidance is always right on target. I have been working with Laura for quite some time as well. And again, the monthly option is $197 per month. The lifetime is a single pay for $21.97. And there is the link to the website, theembroiderycoach.com TTS. Now, we've got some questions up here, it looks like. Hang on a second here. On the Pioneers design, what backing did you use and what did it have? And did it have a topping? What else? What do we use for hoodie fabric? Hoodie fabric, you're going to use, you can use either cutaway, regular 2 ounce or 2.5 ounce cutaway, or you can use the no-show, depending on how heavy the hoodie is. If it is a lighter weight, you're going to use 2 layers of no-show fabric and 1 layer of a 1.5 ounce crisp tearaway. Okay. In the chat, let's see. Oh, Will says, for me, it was priceless. Without the program, I never be a good embroiderer. Will is from the Netherlands, and she has come such a long ways and is doing a great job. Oh, Julie Rathy says, I have learned so much. Joyce is great. Thank you, Julie. For me, is having the confidence of knowing that I do quality work. She does excellent quality work. Keith says, I see that the information is around the Tajima machine. Can I correlate to Melco machine? Oh, absolutely. It works with any machine. I just happen to use the Tajimas, that's all. Lisa Armstrong says, thanks, Joyce. You're welcome, Lisa. Kelly says, Joyce is amazing. Well worth, whoops. We lost. Well worth the investment and then some. Okay. Thank you, Kelly. Okay. Keith says, okay, thanks. Gail Hardick says, I am a gold member currently, and I can see the benefit of Joyce's training already. I am considering the titanium lifetime. Just send me an email, Gail, and we'll take care of that, okay? Where do you clip hats when you hoop? There is little stems on your what kind of machine do you have? SWF. There's like on your cap frame, there's like little sticks that stick out, little round or square sticks. That's all I can think of to call them right now. And that's where you clip them. And I show you all of that inside of the membership site. I've got a whole module on caps. As a matter of fact, I'll show you the site right now. Okay, Gwen says, I have learned so much and my business has increased year after year. Joyce is always there to help when needed. I have gained several clients due to the quality of my embroidery, and I owe that all to Joyce. Thank you. Keith says, I am Titanium Lifetime member. Great information. Just want to make sure that the Academy stuff is the same as the Titanium. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's it. That is absolutely it. Yeah. I'm going to go inside of the membership site and show that to you. Okay. Here we are inside, and you have access to all of these. Well, you've got access to everything inside of the website, okay? But this is where you would start. You would start with how to start an embroidery business. And most of the videos are short. However, I mean, if I'm like working inside of software, they're going to be longer. But I go through and I show you how to change a bobbin, how to change a needle, how to change a cone of thread. And I teach you so that when you tie the knot, it goes right straight through the needle. So very, very important, okay? And how to adjust your tensions. Again, we talked about those. And I go through and show you how to hoop and put in the machine and want almost any type of garment, and how to create small lettering. And I go through and teach you right from the very, very beginning. Okay, Lewis says, I've always wanted to sign up. I just never thought you were real. Oh, I'm real, all right. I'm really real. Where can and get into pertaining to the Melco design shop stuff for the digitizing expert? Okay, there is nothing in here pertaining to the Melco design shop. Okay, I'm going to show you my, it pertains to any of them, okay? Like the small lettering, let's see. The small lettering. I go in here and I teach you about how to create small lettering. And how I teach it, Keith, is it pertains to all software. It doesn't matter. You just have to know where the buttons are, shall we say, in yours. And Keith, you are a lifetime member. If you're a lifetime member, you can set up a call with me, and I can look at your software and help you, show you different things that you don't understand. Because I can go into, when I'm on Zoom, I can go into any software and help you. All right. Just send me an email and we'll set up a time. But what I teach is about your pull comps, your underlays, your different settings, and they are the same settings. I don't care what software you're using. Okay. You're going to be using the same settings for your woven fabrics as you are for your knits, your fleece, and it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It's just, we just have to find out what the buttons are in yours. Okay. Patty says, I agree with Joyce. Joyce has helped my business grow. She is always there to answer a question or jump on and do a Zoom call. I have been with Joyce since 2015. I live in the country, and that has never been a deterrent to me at all. I have a very successful business. Customers are always commenting on my embroidery and they spread word around about my business. I owe it all to Joyce. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Patty. Patty lives like, I can't remember, so either 20 miles or 40 miles from town, one or the other. She lives way out in the boondocks. You're welcome, Keith. Okay, so, but like I said, this is all about your small lettering. And I even use the Wilcom software in some of these. And then down here, I teach you how to create a corporate logo using regular lettering. I show you how to edit it and so that it matches a regular logo. And then down here, I teach you how to create the knockdown stitch to go under your logo for, like for Sherpa or fleece or heavy terry. And that always comes out great. So, okay. And again, it doesn't matter what software you have. It relates to all of them. All right. And then over here, we've got our how to price, and creating sales tools, quoting tools, your production system, how to create a business plan, marketing, and I even show you how to work with customers online, you know, for our virtual world right now, and then how to set up your books so that they work great for any kind of decorating apparel business, and then your business certification and your growth plan, 9 steps to profit. And so there's just a lot. There's a lot here, and you can't get through this in a few minutes. Okay, I mean, you just cannot. This takes months, literally. So okay, and then again, we have our calls every week. Okay, Gail says, glad to hear you use the Willcom software. Yeah, I teach the Willcom, I teach Pulse, but I can go into any software on a Zoom call and tell you what to do. It doesn't matter what software you have. Okay, regarding quoting tools, have you seen the Willcom and let's see, add on for preparing quotes, and what is your opinion? No, I have not. I have not. I don't do that because that would only pertain to the design. It would not pertain to everything else. And when you're pricing, you've got to figure in the time that you are working with a customer, the time you're preparing for it. There's a lot more to it than just sewing out your design. All right. So I would not go by their guides at all. That'll give you a stitch count, but it's not going to give you any pricing. So you've got to learn how to price your embroidery, and I teach you, right? Absolutely, stem to stern here, okay? And you end up with when you go through the pricing program, you end up with a price list for your wholesale embroidery, for your wholesale customers, I should say, for your corporate customers and for your retail customers. And then I give you you create a price list for a combination of your embroidery and your garment altogether. Okay. It says, Keith says, I'm going to start stage 1 today. So I would just start with the embroidery basic, correct? Yes, absolutely. That is correct. Lewis says, I need to learn how to navigate the website. Well, we can set up a Zoom call and I can show you that. Okay. I did that today for a company in British Columbia. We had a Zoom call this morning. How do you set up a Zoom call? Right now, you just send me an email and we'll get one scheduled. Oh, I think I've covered all of those. Any more questions? Okay, so there is can you see my page now that has the link on it? Okay, good. All right. And Gail, you just send me an email. All right. Michelle said, extremely informative class today. Thank you for going over production problems and how to troubleshoot them. You're welcome, Michelle. You are welcome. Okay. Any more questions? Keith says, I really like you questions of today's email. Oh, good. Okay. Very helpful. Well, I want to continue those, putting in a question of the day. Absolutely. You're the second one today that has told me that they like that. So like I said, I'm going to continue putting one in every single day. So good. I know I have not got one done for today yet. I got to get that in. It's been a very, very busy day today. I was kind of glued to the TV this morning early with what was going on. Patty says, where do you do that at? What are you talking about, Patty? Where do I do what at? Oh, on Facebook. Okay, it's on Facebook. Okay, I'm putting them on my personal page on Joyce Jagger, and then I'm putting them on the Embroidery Coach page. And I think I'm going to take down the group pages. I don't like them. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to deal with the group pages. I can't stay in there. I don't have anybody to help me with trying to keep up with the support with them. And I am more interested in keeping up with the support that comes in through my email with my real customers. I mean, you know, my real students. I'm just not interested in going through and keeping up with all of the pages in Facebook. I just can't do it. So, okay. Is there a link to the Facebook page? Not really. It's just the Embroidery Coach. Facebook.com, the Embroidery Coach. Or go to my personal page, which is Joyce.Jagger. Either one. And I get more action on my personal page than I do on the Embroidery Coach page for some reason. That's where most people end up going. Okay. Okay, guys. Well, if there's no more questions, then, oh my goodness, we've been here for almost an hour and a half. So I don't want to keep you all day. You're welcome, Keith. So have an absolutely wonderful afternoon. And don't forget, if you're not a lifetimer, let's get busy so you've got all of that information in front of you. And you've got the support that you need through email and phone. Okay. Gail says, thank you so much, Joyce. So glad I found you. I'm glad you found me too, Gail. What is the best email to reach you again? The best and the fastest is the Embroidery Coach at Gmail. Again, that's the Embroidery Coach at Gmail. Sometimes when you send them in to Joyce at the embroiderycoach.com, they get hung up. And sometimes I don't even get them, and I don't know why. So, okay. So just send them to the Embroidery Coach at Gmail. Okay, guys. Thank you all for being here. And I will see many of you next week on Wednesday. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.